Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, how's it going? Week 10, quarantine. How are you and the missus? I know things are opening up. How's it in DC?
Good, good. So not yet on opening up, but yeah, it's we kind of kept a quiet weekend, went to the grocery store and just kind of hung out around the house. So not too much. How about you?
Did you ever think the grocery store would be an event? I guess an event for the we're going to the grocery store.
Well, yeah, even before quarantine, it was an event. So
Oh yeah. Well, I can't complain. I can't complain. It was great weather here. Of course, it didn't do much, but it is what it is.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I'll let you and Adam take it. You and Chike take away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So I saw a couple movies this weekend, and the first one I'll start with is a movie that was recently released at the beginning of this month called Arkansas. And it's a crime thriller film directed by Clark Duke, and he actually stars in it. And for anyone unaware who he is, which I was, he is, I think, most well known as the kid in Hot Tub Time Machine 1 and 2. And this movie also stars Liam Hemsworth, Vivica A. Fox, Vince Vaughn, John Malkovich, Michael Keenan Williams. So it's got a pretty good cast, and it follows these two low-level drug runners in Arkansas that are kind of just going through their lives of delivering packages, picking up the money, and things like that for a drug dealer known as the Frog. And a series of events happens during one of their dealings that causes them to be on the hunt by the Frog. And Frog's actually played by Vince Vaughn, and it kind of goes through that. So think of kind of one of those low stakes kind of crime movies where honestly not much happens, and this movie has some potential, but overall I felt like it wasn't really hitting on all cylinders. And I know Clark Duke's this is his first directorial debut, and you can definitely tell it's a little rough in the directing side. Actually, script was a little rough as well. They do flashbacks of Vince Vaughn and how he became the Frog, and those parts were the most interesting parts of the movie. But it's a $6 streaming movie. If you're looking for something different and you like Liam Hemsworth and the rest of the cast, check it out. Otherwise, though, I would not recommend this. This is a movie I wouldn't call a bad movie, but easily skippable. The next movie I saw, which is one that I've been meaning to see for quite some time, and it came out in 2016, and it's called The Nice Guys. And Chike, I don't know if you've seen this back when it came out, but it's a detective comedy with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in the
Yes.
1970s, directed by Shane Black and written by Shane Black. And he's most famously known for writing The Lethal Weapon, first movie, The Last Boy Scout, Last Action Hero, Iron Man 3, things like that. So if you're used to his types of movie where the dialogue's quick, the pacing's fast, the action's fun, this is definitely up your alley. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling do a great job. And again, this is just a fun all-around movie. And if you have HBO, it's on there, so you can watch it for free. And again, it's a movie I slept on, and I've known to not like Ryan Gosling a lot. I do like him. I just don't like the hype around him and how everyone thinks he's amazing. But he does a great job in this movie, and this is one that I would highly recommend.
Good. You're hard on Ryan Gosling like I am on Nicolas Cage. I swear.
Yeah, no, and I like him, and I just every movie acts like he is like this incredible actor, and I like him again, but it's just I don't see it. I've never seen The Notebook, so maybe that's why I didn't fall in love with him with the rest of America. But yeah,
Okay. Fair enough. So I saw two films. The first film being Capone, which is the 2020 release. It's direct to streaming. This is probably something that was going to come out in the theaters, which stars Tom Hardy, Linda Cardellini, and Matt Dillon. If you don't know who Linda Cardellini is, she's also starring with Christina Applegate in the series on Netflix called Dead
hmm
to Me. She's a really good actress. maybe a little underrated. She's been in a lot of films. Check her out. She's pretty good. Tom Hardy definitely had some production in this movie. I could tell because it's his speed. He's semi-dark. This movie follows the last year of Capone's life. And if anyone knows anything about Capone, Al Capone, that is, who was a notorious gangster who eventually was captured and put into prison. And because of his mental state, they allowed him out for his last year. And his mental state started to deteriorate because he was suffering from neurosyphilis. And neurosyphilis is basically when you acquire syphilis and it goes untreated and it migrates to your brain and it starts to deteriorate your mental well-being. So allegedly Capone has money hidden somewhere. So the FBI was basically on him ever since his release, and they had been monitoring him and bugging him. So it goes through this whole phase of him living down in Florida and retiring the leisure life, and the FBI being on his heels, surveilling, basically looking for hints for the missing money, because it's money that he never paid taxes on. And I think that this was really brilliantly played by Tom Hardy, and I think that Tom Hardy is underrated when it comes to his acting skill. He really has the ability to frighten you, disgust you, aggravate you, unnerve you, and him playing this iconic gangster character in the flux of his mental stability, I thought was brilliant. I enjoyed it. And it has these moments where it goes into these tangents of flashes of insanity only to come back to his reality. And when you go off on the tangent in this movie and his mental escapades, and then it comes back, you can actually feel what it would probably be like to start to lose your mind. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. There is some gangster action in it, even though, because he does have flashbacks. There is some gangster action, and it does get a little graphic when it comes to, the guns and the shooting and the killing and all that stuff. So all that stuff is in there, which you would associate with Tom Hardy because that's what he loves. I highly recommend it. Check it out if you can afford to. Again, that I saw that on Amazon Prime, and of course you pay the fee for that extra streaming, the early release. The second film was The Last Final Measure. Now, this film came out last year, and it was not on my radar. I knew nothing about it. I found it in me searching for something to watch. And this film stars Sebastian Stan, William Hurt, Christopher Plummer, Peter Fonda, and Samuel L. Jackson. And fun point, Sebastian Stan, William Hurt, and Samuel Jackson are all Marvel alum. So they've all been in Marvel movies, and they've been in movies together.
Nice.
Also starring Diane Ladd and Amy Madigan, who are acting veterans, which rounds out the cast. So 34 years after Airman William H. Pitts is his nickname, Pitts Barger. I think this is Pitts Barger Jr. 34 years after his death, he is given the Medal of Honor. It took so long because he was caught up in, his name and his medal was caught up in a bunch of bureaucracy. This is a political movie. Not too much military action, not too much violence and shooting. There is some, but not a lot. So if you're in it for the action, not this movie. It's very political. I thought that it was brilliant because it's a true story, and it just goes to show you how the government makes maneuvers to try to cover up things and to try to make things look golden on the outside when they're really not. And they would go to the lengths of not giving someone their just due because it would uncover so much ugly stuff surrounding it. And that's basically what happened in this movie. This was during the Vietnam War. And of course, the Vietnam War was very scandalous and it was very controversial. And a lot of things that happened in the Vietnam War were not well received by the public. So basically, in order to give this man an award, the award is based on what? And so therefore, if it's based on whatever it's based on, you have to investigate to figure out why is he getting an award in the first place.
Yeah.
So they didn't want that to happen because you would find out some ugly truths. So it was caught up in bureaucracy for years, and finally they really do at the end. I'm just going to tell you the end, but you have to watch the bureaucracy and what the cover-up is, and that's the meat of the movie. They finally give him his award, and at the end, I swear, there is this big emotional moment that you will have for the veterans of this country and what they do to keep us safe and to fight for our right for justice. Everybody, all the heavy hitters, knocked this movie out of the park. There's excellent acting. There were some very truthful moments. Highly recommended. Check
how
it
long
out.
ago did this come out? Because I think didn't Peter Fonda just die like a year ago or so. So
Yeah. So this is a 2019 release. I don't know, you know how the movie industry works.
Yeah.
They could have filmed it in 2018, but yeah, and Peter Fonda does an awesome job, you know, with the whole post-traumatic stress. You know, he's a Fonda, so why wouldn't he do a good job? It's awesome. Definitely check it out.
Nice.
Nice.
And I wanted to go quick back to Tom Hardy because I agree, Chike. He's one of those that he always does a great job in every movie he is. I also think, though, he also picks like a lot of movies, and not every movie he's in is good, like Dark Knight Rises. Or did you ever see that one where he was in the car lock and it's just him for 2 hours driving?
Yes.
And I know people like those movies, but I was Tom Hardy again. He's one of those that I'll enjoy him in any movie, but he doesn't draw me into the box office. So it's interesting about Capone.
You know what the thing about him is I like Tom Hardy, but I really like him when he's able to have a hand in the production of whatever he's in. He does a lot better with that because it tends to have his personality all over it. And his personality, this man doesn't even own a razor. He doesn't shave like the conventional ways. He's a little ruffian. You know, he's gruff.
Yeah.
You know, he's that dude, and he brings that to his productions. I love it.
And I don't know if you read that the oral history of the Mad Max Fury Road, but that came out in the New York Times, I think, earlier last week. But it was very interesting because he actually got in kind of arguments with the director because he didn't understand the movie and what the heck was going on. And it was apparently difficult to work with him on set because he was always getting in kind of arguments with Charlize Theron. But after the movie came out, he was like, okay, I understand. And I was totally wrong for disagreeing with you throughout the whole process because you know what you're doing. So, yeah, interesting character.
Yeah. And if I'm correct, Charlize Theron was a producer on that production, I believe. Yep. So that he was arguing with his boss. Netflix, Dead to Me is back, which is so hilarious.
Yeah, I started watching that.
I'm just a few episodes in. It didn't bite me as it did last season.
I agree.
Correct.
You know, at least I'm about 3 in. It's not affecting me like it did last season, but I'm going to hold with it because I was so impacted last season. So I'm going to carry it through. Hopefully, maybe midway through they'll gain me back. But as of right now, 3 episodes in, I'm like,
Yeah, let me know your thoughts because I felt exactly the same.
I feel the same too. I feel the exact same. Real quick, go ahead, Chica.
I was going to move on to Insecure, which is a huge episode yesterday.
Yes.
Huge episode.
Yes.
OMG.
She should have walked in the restaurant.
You think so?
Yes.
Maybe she just wasn't beat. Maybe she wasn't beat to walk in the restaurant. Sometimes you especially dealing with interpersonal relationships, she probably knew in her core that she was not ready to have the conversation that they needed to have because she hasn't resolved her own issues around what it is that she feels about the situation. And so how can you have an adult conversation that way?
No, I agree.
I mean, of course, we want the friendships back, but if you're not ready, I mean, and to be truthful, if I can put some truth out there right now, I actually have a friend who I'm going through this with right now, and we haven't spoken for 2 years. And I got a text message saying, and this is weeks ago, basically saying, thank you for being on the front lines and thank you for supporting and being out there and doing the one. And I was like, okay, thank you. I hope you're being safe and protecting yourself out there. But then, after that, and I'm thinking like, well, was that an opening? Was that, your way of making your way back without saying I'm sorry? But I'm at the point now where I need to hear you apologize because I need for you to own what happened. And I'm sure that, and I applied it to their friendship, those things. But sometimes
people don't know. They don't always know what they did wrong, And I think that when we can effectively communicate that to that person, then if they don't get it, then that's something else. But if you can effectively say, this is why it bothered me, you know what I mean? But they have to be receptive to that. So,
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So,
So we got
Adam, do you watch Insecure?
No,
you
but I
watch
should.
Insecure,
What's
Adam?
it on? Netflix?
No, it's on
HBO.
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 Okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. It's good.
It's really good.
Okay, so to go all the way to the beginning and then come up to now.
Okay.
What else? What else you got?
So there is a show that's new to me on Amazon Prime. It's called Kingdom, and of course, if anyone knows, I'm into MMA and UFC fighting, and this show it's honestly kind of like Animal Kingdom, in the sense that there's a family drama and that same production style, and it also happens in Venice, California. There's an MMA family, and they're trying to hold on to their gym, and they're going through different life changes, and there's violence in it, there's drama in it. One of the characters comes out of prison to find that his woman that he was about to marry is now in love with and shacked up with the gym owner. Like, there's a lot of drama going on, and it's really good. It's like a really good soap opera with fighting and guts and blood and criminality and all that stuff. All the good things that make a good
right up
show.
your alley.
And it stars Nick Jonas, of all things. Who would have thought that Nick Jonas brought it? He's good in it. But this show came out in 2004. It ran 2014 to 2017. It was new to me, but I'm loving it all the same.
Nice.
Yeah, that's basically it for me right now.
Okay. Real quick, Insecure, I love it. How to Get Murder had the season finale last Thursday. That's how you end the season. Empire, that's how you end the season. And so it's really good. I watched some movie on Netflix. I think it was called The Wrong Millie. That annoyed me in the first hour, but it made sense in the end. The Last Dance with the Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. That documentary ended yesterday. The last 2 episodes. Amazing documentary. Everyone, if you've seen The Last Dance, check it out. But listen, guys, thank you so much for letting us know what to spend our time on and what not to. And we'll talk again the week after Memorial Day.
Sounds good.
All right.
Absolutely.
Have a good night. We're right back after this.